thinking about that right now. All right. So moments of inspiration as cornerstone content do one simple thing. And if we want to translate it to the business world, they increase demand for the products and services we sell. They inspire action. And that's what increases demand for the products and services we sell. Nod your heads if you're with me or you just want a beer. No, I'm kidding. Because now I can't tell. I couldn't give you a number. Damn it. Okay. I didn't learn anything from that interaction. That was great. All right. So let's talk about driving demand with great stories. I learned about driving demand with great stories because I come out of the television business. I grew up in Houston, Texas. I went to college at Boston University. I studied television and film. I worked at a local television station where I produced a crappy late-night call-in talk show with a right-wing Republican host who was spewing out crap into the television screen. And then liberals would call up and yell back, and I did that for an hour every night. And then on the weekends, I had another stupid call-in show called Doctors on Call. And it was basically hypochondriacs calling in to get medical advice, which we couldn't actually give them. It was terrible. Anyway, I graduated from this. I went on to write for Charles Kuralt. Anyone old enough to remember Charles? Yay! So I learned how to write for Charles Kuralt, and then I got a job at the Today Show. I was working at the Today Show for a while, but the pace was unbelievably stressful. And finally, I landed my dream job at the Jim Henson Company. I started working at the Jim Henson Company as the production manager in their workshop. And the first job I had at the workshop was actually to take care of the budget and production schedule for Bear in the Big Blue House. Bear in the Big Blue, you guys know the show? Yeah. Oh, yay, all right. Bear in the Big Blue House is a great show. It's a really great show. We hadn't shot one episode of this show yet. And my job was to monitor the budget. I go to the first meeting 2 weeks into the job. It's a bunch of executives from Disney and Sony and all these other people. And they go around the room, and I'm like, well, we're kind of screwed. We're $500,000 in the bucket. I want to work on it. And they were like, oh, okay. And they just moved down the line. I couldn't figure out why. Until a few weeks later, I met a few people from the merchandising and licensing team. Those were the people that knew if we created the best, highest quality content, the best content possible, that they would recoup any loss. Any loss could be overcome by the creation of great content that inspired demand for weird toys like this stupid Bear in the Big Blue House interactive. No one needed this toy before Bear in the Big Blue House was on the air. No one needs a Bear in the Big Blue House plush doll until you have a show called Bear in the Big Blue House that triggers a bunch of kids that want a Bear in the Big Blue House plush doll. Grover is my favorite Sesame Street character. I got to work on seasons 30 and 31 of Sesame Street, and I loved every minute of it because I got to see Grover all the time. Grover's a great character. If you want to buy a birthday party that's Sesame Street themed, you can buy anything you want to put that party together. None of this was needed. No Grover plush dolls, no party favors, until you decided you love the content so much that it inspired you to buy crap you didn't know you needed. If you go to Amazon right now, 24,000 products, people, that are Sesame Street branded. It goes from sleeping bags and tents to books and CDs and toothbrushes. It gets crazy. This is where I learned that valuable content increases demand for the products and services you sell if you can inspire people to take action. And because we're here at Disney, one of the brands that is a master of moments of inspiration is Disney. This brand has inspired so much enthusiasm that there's a theme park that we're all sitting in to enjoy. And we spend tons of money to bring our families to see the characters in walk-around costumes that came out of a screen. That's amazing. Let's just take one film, for example, Finding Nemo, right? Raise your hand if you have not seen Finding Nemo. Holy smoke. I will see you on the beach, you and I, on the beach. Oh my Lord. You shouldn't be allowed in the resort. Amazing piece of content. High quality, inspirational content. It did $868 million at the box office, almost $1 billion in revenue, and still today it is the #1 best-selling DVD of all time. I don't know who's buying DVDs anymore, so probably stay up there on the list. But Finding Nemo is undeniably high-quality content. This is my niece. She's from Miami, actually. If you ever got into a pet store just a few weeks after you've hung out and watched Finding Nemo, you end up seeing this. I want a Nemo. I want it. Is that a Nemo? Is that a turtle that's from the movie? I want the turtle. Is that a Nemo? And then this is a problem, right? Because how can we say no to that face? Impossible. So now, her Clownfish. Now this content was so inspiring, it was such great content that it actually created something called the Nemo effect. Finding Nemo decimated the global population for clownfish. Literally, people had to get into planes, fly to Australia, go to the Great Barrier Reef, take them out of the anemones, bring them back and sell them to your kids. This is exactly how it worked. The Nemo effect inspired that kind of demand. And it just doesn't inspire demand for clownfish, right? You gotta buy a bunch of other crap when you get a clownfish. You got a fish tank and the food and the stupid filters and the rocks and we'll take the bubbles. And it's like on and on. You just spent $300 for your $3.99 fish. Like this is how it works. So all of a sudden, they're selling not just clownfish, they're selling guppies and turtles and goldfish. All of a sudden, the whole rising tide happens. You can still go to Walmart today, 10 years after the movie's been released, and buy yourself a Finding Nemo starter kit. And what does it do? It triggers in the mind of the consumer, the kid, oh my gosh, I want a Finding Nemo starter set. I love that movie. That because it's an emotional piece of content. Now this isn't the first time Disney has done this. If you've seen the 101 Dalmatians, I won't ask because I don't want to have to yell at two people. 101 Dalmatians was released in 1961, and they created what's called the Dalmatian effect. Everybody thought Dalmatians would make great pets after seeing that cute, cuddly movie. Turns out they'd be crappy-ass pets. They had an adoption crisis. That's amazing. Now, why does this work? You raise your hand if you use Google Insights or Google Trends. Bunch of people. This is great. Wow, I've never seen an audience with that many hands up. For those of you that don't know, Google Trends is the most underutilized marketing, communications, and PR tool on the planet. Okay, it's free. Google.com/trends. What you're looking at now is demand for clownfish. Okay, and you can tie this directly to revenue. So when you're wondering how do I tie my activities to revenue, start using Google Trends. This is 1 year after the release of Finding Nemo. You can see demand is at 100, right? Then it slowly trickles off a year and a half later. Then you see the cyclical demand. I don't know if it's school's out, people buy fish. Then they release the DVD in 2011, and what happens? Everybody wants a freaking clownfish again. And there's some tank manufacturer going, crap, man, we're running out of tanks again. It's like 2004. What the hell's happening? What the hell? You've got to start thinking like this. How can you inspire demand? Because valuable content increases demand for the products and services you sell. Valuable content increases demand for the products and services you sell. So, a rising tide in this whole scenario is the tank manufacturer and the filter guys. You've got to see what opportunities you can be part of so that you can help rise the tide. You may not be the fish. You may be the tank manufacturer. And what if you actually made a movie? Start thinking about that for a social strategy. Instead of thinking, how long can my YouTube clip be? I don't think people watch anything over 1:30, says the standard practice on YouTube. That's BS. If the content is inspiring, people will watch all of it. Coney 2012 was 30 minutes long. People watched it in droves. So think about extending the life of your content to tell a great story. How about Lucky Strike and Canadian Club Surge, all right? Lucky Strike from cigarettes. Maybe this is bad and politically incorrect, but I want to tell you, this is how amazing your content can be. Lucky Strike, since 2007, has seen a 44% increase in sales. 10 billion cigarettes have been sold, 5 times faster than the industry. Canadian Club kicked 17 years of constant decline. It's crappy-ass whiskey. 4.3% growth year over year for the past 5 years. Anyone want to guess why?
Mad Men.
Yeah, you guys are exactly right. Mad Men is a new trigger. Every episode, 70 episodes, on and on and on, has triggered people to inspire them to buy crappy whiskey and terrible cigarettes and kill them. And that's amazing. How about, let's talk on the positive side. 16 and Pregnant. If you haven't seen this show, it's basically a bunch of pregnant teenagers who realize life is not as good as they thought it would be after getting pregnant. 16 and Pregnant, over the course of 18 months, reduced teen pregnancy rates by 5.5%. That's the power of an amazing story. And guess what? It also increased condom sales. In every market you look at, people watch the show and go, man, I'll get a condom. How about Vampire Diaries? You have kids that watch these shows, any of the vampire shows? Well, guess what? The #1 selling gift that Spencer Gifts is. 1999, these stupid fangs that you stick on your teeth are flying off the shelves. It's inspiring demand for stick-on vampire teeth. So no matter how weird your product is, think about the triggers behind them and what actually inspires people to go on that journey. Because nothing has fueled our consumer culture more than the content brands we love. Nothing. It's from Sesame Street to Mad Men to Finding Nemo or Kane's Arcade. Valuable content increases demand for the products and services you sell. Have I said that? I hope someone wrote it down. It inspires people to buy something they didn't know they needed. And that's the power of a great story. That's what great stories do. Now, how do they do it? I'm going to walk you through the consumer journey. The consumer journey is different than the marketing funnel, okay? A lot of people know about the marketing funnel, but think of this, especially if you're in PR and communications, think of this as your funnel model. Let the marketing guys deal with that. I want you to think of this, the consumer journey, okay? The consumer journey starts with a trigger or a moment of inspiration, okay? Down here, right here. Okay? A moment of inspiration, that piece of content that inspires you to act, puts a trigger in your mind. It doesn't matter what piece of content it is. If it's powerful enough, you don't need the call to action. It just inspires you to go do something. Okay? And in the online world specifically, that trigger always has an initial consideration set. It's either your brand, your company, your firm, your agency, your nonprofit, or someone else's. Now usually that trigger leading to the initial consideration set, the initial consideration set is like the Super Bowl money people. The people are just shoving money into advertising and be like, if anyone ever thinks of buying a car, it better be ours. That's what they think, okay? And what happens today, very different than 10 years ago, is you go